I mean big D, little A, double L A S. And that spells Dallas, my darling.
All right, let's get into it. We are cracking open the city of Dallas's brand new $5.2 billion budget. And trust me, after all the buildup, this thing is a real page-turner. So, you remember, right? They warned us all about this painful summer that was coming. They were basically telling everyone to brace for some really tough, painful choices to get the city's books balanced. So, after all that drama and doom and gloom, what did they actually come up with? And this, right here, is the big question. It's like the central magic trick of the whole budget. How on earth do you fill a multi-million-dollar hole in your finances, promise to hire a bunch more cops, and cut taxes all at the same time? I mean, is this some kind of financial wizardry? Or are we just watching a really good show with a lot of smoke and mirrors? Let's dive in and see. Okay, so first things first. Before they could do anything, they had to deal with a pretty challenging financial picture. Basically, they had to go looking for cash in the city couch cushions. And that hole was deep. We're talking a $36.5 million gap they were staring at back in June. And it came from two places, really. Sales tax revenues weren't what they'd hoped for, and on top of that, a lot more people were successfully fighting their property tax bills, which meant less money coming in for the city. So this is where the new city manager, Kim Tolbert, basically comes in and says, look, what we've been doing, it's not going to work this time. The old way of just making a few little changes here and there, nope, not an option. She said they needed a whole new game plan. All right, so what was this new strategy? Well, it started with the #1 priority from residents, public safety. They decided to put their money where the sirens are. And you can really see it here. I mean, just look at this. A whopping 61 cents of every single dollar from the general fund is going straight to police and fire. Now, that percentage itself isn't new. It's about what it was last year. But here's the kicker. It's 61% of a much, much bigger budget this year. So the total amount is way up. So part of the plan to get more cops is to raise the starting pay to over $81,000, which sounds pretty good, right? But here's the thing. Dallas is in this constant battle, this pay race with its own suburbs. And even with this raise, they're still playing catch up to places like Frisco and Plano. And that pay raise? It's just one part of this really massive multi-year goal they've set to get the police force up to 4,000 officers by 2029. And get this, the city manager says no other city around here is even trying to hire on this kind of scale. It is a huge, huge gamble. Okay, so back to that magic trick. How are they going to pay for all these new cops and still cut taxes? Well, here's the other half of the rabbit in the hat. They're betting big on efficiency through mergers and, yeah, robots. First thing on the list is a huge reorg. They're taking 4 separate city departments. We're talking community care, equity and inclusion, homelessness solutions, and housing, and basically just mashing them all together into one brand new super department. It's going to be called the Office of Housing and Community Empowerment. And the result of smashing all those departments together? A tidy $6.2 million in savings. But there's always a but, right? That savings comes from getting rid of 38 jobs that people are in right now, plus not filling another 30 that are already empty. The city swears services won't be cut, they'll just be, more efficient. We'll see how that theory plays out in the real world. And then there's the tech play. The city is going all in on AI to find savings. So get ready. We're talking about AI cameras on sanitation trucks hunting for code violations. We're talking about AI taking over your 311 service requests. It's even going to help write contracts with vendors. And this isn't just a small test. Dallas is now the biggest city in Texas to roll out this kind of tech at this scale. Okay, but this budget isn't just about the numbers or the robots. There's a really interesting philosophical change happening here, too. And you can see it plain as day by looking at one specific word that's basically vanished. Just look at this comparison. Last year, the word equity was everywhere in the budget documents, over 60 times. This year, it shows up just 5 times. And honestly, the only reason it's there at all is because it's in the name of one of those departments they're getting rid of. That's a huge shift. So what's the reason for this? Well, The city manager's explanation is that the goal is to make equity inherently embedded in everything the city does, rather than having it siloed in one office. Basically, stop talking about it and start doing it everywhere. It's also worth noting that this comes after a directive to pause some DEI programs to make sure the city is in compliance with federal funding rules. All right, enough about the big picture stuff, the cups, the mergers, the philosophy. Let's get down to what you really want to know. What does any of this mean for you, for your wallet? So the good news is, for the 10th year in a row, the city is cutting the property tax rate. That's great. But last year, that cut was 3 cents. This year, the proposed cut is, let's call it modest. We're talking half a cent. Yeah, half a penny. And what does that half a penny cut actually translate to in real money? For the average homeowner, you're looking at an annual savings of $12.66. So, don't spend it all in one place. And remember, that's only if your home's value doesn't go up, which, let's be honest, for a lot of us, it probably will, wiping out those savings anyway. Look, at the end of the day, a budget is always a game of give and take. So on the give side of the ledger, city employees are getting a minimum wage boost to $21.50 an hour, which is great. And there's $162 million for street improvements. But on the take side, your trash pickup fees are going up, and sadly, the Skillman Southwestern Branch Library is closing its doors for good. So that's the plan in a nutshell. Dallas is making a huge bet. They're betting that all this talk of efficiency, this new tech, these big mergers, that it can all pay for their big priorities, like more cops, without making those painful cuts everyone was so worried about. It's definitely a bold move, but the real question is, will it work? Is this the start of a smarter, more efficient city? Or are we all going to find out that the pain wasn't avoided? It was just hidden away in things like higher fees and closed library doors. That really is the multi-billion-dollar question for Dallas.
You're from Big D. I can guess by the way you draw and the way you dress. You're from Big D.